Welcome to the Unfuck Your Fitness podcast. I am your host, Christy Castillo, and I'm here to give you real talk and cut the BS so you can actually enjoy building a body you love. I'm a personal trainer obsessed with giving you simple action steps to take you from feeling stuck to feeling sexy. Let's go. Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to today's episode. We are going to be talking today about following a plan, not your mood. This is based off of an Instagram post that I did not save. So I don't know who the creator of this was, but it wasn't me. Okay. I did not come up with this, but I think it's genius. It's kind of like this shit is not optional, which I did come up with. Probably not, but I did come up with it. So follow your plan, not your mood. If you're not in the mood, do it anyway, right? What was your plan? You're going to stick to the plan, not your mood. Okay, this shit is not optional. You're tired, doesn't matter. You're bloated, doesn't matter. You don't want to do it, doesn't matter, right? Okay, same idea of this shit is not optional, but in a different way. So I've had a couple of client conversations lately that have kind of been based off of this, not in terms of them not wanting to do things, but they want to change things. And so I'm going to get into that a little bit later, but this is kind of, like following your plan, not your mood, doing things that you don't want to do, not sure if you're in a plateau, like you feel a certain way, but you have to do it anyway. That's kind of the gist of this episode. And we're going to, of course, take a couple twists and turns here, but I'm excited because this, like I said, whatever my clients are dealing with, I know if they're always like kind of dealing with the same things at the same time. I think we as women are just a lot of times dealing with the same things at the same time. And if we don't talk about it, we don't know. But I have a lot of clients who are dealing with this. And so I'm having this conversation on repeat. And it's a really good conversation to have. So when it comes to your fitness journey, do not make decisions based on how you feel. You have to look for the proof. And in order to have proof, you would have had to collect some data, entered some data for you to have so that you have the facts. It's like when I've had clients before, you've heard people like, I think I'm eating healthy enough. I think I'm hitting my macros. I think I'm doing all the right things. Well, if you think you're doing all the right things, that's unfortunately not good enough. I talked about this a couple episodes ago where you have got to track your macros. Like you have got to know, are you going over calories or not? Because if you are, it would be really good to know and really simple to then cut back. But aside from the data that you need, you also do not make decisions based on how you feel. So I had posted one night, I was bored, couldn't sleep, in bed, late, scrolling social media and found this, follow your plan, not your mood. I'm like, that is so good. I'm going to share that. People will be motivated. Love that. The next day, I'm struggling to work out. I do not want to work out. I'd had some zucchini brownies, a zucchini brownie that morning. My stomach kind of hurt. It was hot. I did not want to work out at all. And I did. Okay. I talked myself into it, but I was in the garage and I made a video, posted that on my stories. Like, I do not want to do this right now. My stomach hurts. I'm not in the mood, but I conveniently posted, follow your plan, not your mood. So that's exactly what I'm doing. That's exactly what I'm doing. And I showed that on social media because when you have a plan, you stick to it. When you know the outcome of that plan, you do it either way. But a lot of times, if we're feeling fluffy, right, we want to eat less. If we're feeling bigger in our jeans and we're feeling, bloated, fluffy, inflamed, gross, maybe like I'm building muscle too quickly, which is not a thing. You're just not losing fat fast enough. Okay. But either way, when we're feeling bigger, we're feeling fluffy, we're feeling whatever, our first instinct is I should eat less or I should adjust my training. And that is absolutely not what you should do. Because if you are trying to teach your body consistency and like, this is what I'm feeding you now, these are our macros, trying to love your body and do that consistently. If you then back off every time your body feels a certain way, that's not good. That's not teaching your body consistency. So if you are working with a coach who has a plan for you based on the goals that you talked about with your coach, stick to that plan. If you have a plan that you know will get you to your goal, stick to it no matter how you feel. If you feel bloated, do it anyway. If you feel tired, do it anyway. If you're on your period and you're like, oh my freaking God, hopefully your plan allowed for that, right? Some of that, like flexibility, of course. You don't have to like crush a workout that day when you feel like shit or you're sick or super tired, but go for a walk. You can still hit your macros. You can still drink your water. You can still do things, right? Even though you don't feel great. So you still have to, right? Get close to your macro targets. You have to hit your daily steps. You have to drink lots of water. You have to resistance train over and over and over and over for the rest of your life. Consistently. Anyway, not every single day, right? You have to do these things over and over and over, not just when you feel like it, not just when you're in the mood, not just when I have time for this, right? You have to do it. Okay. So kind of got that little pep talk out of the way. Do not make decisions based on how you feel. Do not. Okay. You have to do it. If you're committed to something, do it. If you're half-ass committed to something, sorry about your luck. It's not going to work. And you should be fully committed to something that is doable for you. I've talked about this many times in the podcast. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be working out 5 to 7 days a week. You don't have to be absolutely perfect, but you should have a plan, right? You're going to work out maybe 4 days a week. You're going to walk 6 days a week. You're going to hit your water goal every day. You're going to hit these macro targets pretty close to every day, right? It should be a flexible enough plan that you can hit it consistently. And if not, that's the problem. I set up my plans for my clients so that it fits consistently into their life habitually. But I do have a lot of clients, especially in the beginning of them working with me, they'll lose a little weight, a couple pounds, and they're feeling really good, and then they plateau, which is totally normal. But they'll ask, and not just in that situation, there are other situations where they'll ask, when are we going to change up my macros? Is it time to change up my macros? And, they tell me that they have plateaued a little bit or they feel stuck. And so I think we need to change up my macros. Maybe I need to eat less. Maybe I need to eat more. Like they don't know. Of course, they're coming to me to tell them the answer. And what we talk about is, first of all, I'm not going to change macros unless I feel like something's really, really off, of course. But if you have just plateaued for 2 weeks and haven't lost any overall weight, chances are your muscle mass is still changing, your body fat's still changing, right? That's totally fine. I will leave someone in a plateau, myself included, for 6 to 8 weeks if you are still seeing other wins, because that overall number on the scale is unfortunately not our main priority. It's not our main priority because the things you do to get that number to move are our main priority. So unfortunately, I have to tell these clients, I'm not changing your macros. That's not the problem. Your macros are great. Keep being consistent with them. We have to work on these other things, right? Or they'll say they're plateaued, like I said, or they feel stuck. Maybe it's just getting redundant. Who knows? If something's feeling redundant, that's good. We don't always need that dopamine hit of a new program or a new workout move or a new gym equipment or a new, right? Like get used to the redundancy. You'll be fine. But the redundancy is really good for your body. So doing the same workouts 3 to 4 weeks in a row, that's fine. Your body's going to love that. Your body loves consistency. Your brain, maybe not so much because that's not really what we give it. And so it wants, always the next hit, always the next thing, go, 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 go. And that's not good. So redundancy is fine. I'm like, nah, we're going to have to get used to that. I can do a couple things within the workout to maybe mix it up a little bit, but it's okay to be uncomfortable. It's okay to be uncomfortable. And we need to know that as well. But a lot of times when my clients will say, I'm feeling plateaued, I just, I'm feeling stuck. I'm not losing weight. I'm not all the things, right? And those are physical things that they're feeling, literally physically. And usually, literally, their pant size hasn't changed or the overall body weight number on the scale hasn't gone down. But when we look back to the data, they're making huge progress. So you haven't plateaued if the scale is down overall. Let's say it's been 8 weeks and the scale is down. That's a win. If your muscle mass is up, you're feeling strong. If your fat percentage is down, if you're taking photos and you're noticing a difference, if you're eating more, if you're feeling less bloated, if you're sleeping better, if you have more energy, if you have better habits in place that are allowing you to show up and to get your shit done and still enjoy your life, those are all wins. So when I will talk about this with a client and, they'll say, oh, I'm feeling stuck. I don't know. It's kind of this attitude of like, oh, I'm just feeling really frustrated. Well, is the scale down overall? Maybe not as fast as you'd like it to be, but is it down? Is your muscle mass up? Are you feeling really strong? Are you eating better? Are you learning things? Are you tracking? Do you understand your body better? Are you listening to your body? Have you been able to take days off and still see results? Have you been able to not be perfect and still see results? Are you sleeping better? Do you have more energy, right? Like all these things in there. A lot of times it's a yes to almost every single one of those. But for whatever reason, when that goddamn body weight number doesn't move for, God forbid, a month or something, we freak out, right? So look at the data. If you feel like, oh my God, I'm plateaued, I'm not making any progress, look at the proof. You are making progress. You feel like you're not making progress. The proof is telling you that you freaking are making progress, right? Yes, it might be taking a little longer than you hoped. And yes, you might be focused on the wrong things when you feel like you're not making progress, but you're good, okay? Something I've talked a lot about with clients, especially recently, is to notice how you feel and realize that you will likely not feel that way again tomorrow. I have my one-on-one clients on an app called Voxer. And they get to talk to me on that app. I check in there a couple times a week, but they can leave messages in there anytime. I tell them, this is where I want you to leave messages for me whenever you're feeling something or you have a question or literally anything. If you're feeling, like I said, stuck, you need a food suggestion, you need to send me a picture, a supplement, anything. A lot of times they will send me a message and say, I'm just feeling really frustrated. I'm feeling really bloated today. I feel like shit. I'm, feeling kind of down and out. If I don't respond to them that day, a lot of times the next day, they'll send me a message, be like, disregard, I'm feeling really good today. I think that was just like a fluke and I need to calm down and I need to, slow down. And they kind of like auto adjust it themselves. But I will always respond and say, let's take note of that, right? One day you probably felt great. You were kicking ass. You feel so good. The next day you wake up, you feel like shit. You're bloated. You feel gross. Maybe the scale is up a little bit and all of a sudden you feel like you're totally defeated. You're doing everything wrong, right? Isn't that crazy how if you look good, the number on the scale is good, you feel good. The next day you kind of are a little bloated, probably nothing to do with your fitness journey. Your hormones are crazy. You're going to start your period, right? Like wherever you're at in your cycle, it's probably something to do with that. But we think, oh, I'm not doing something right. Now the scale's up, whatever. Maybe you drank more water. Maybe you ate a little bit later than usual. Who freaking cares? But for whatever reason, that puts you in a funk. And now you're like, oh, I feel so bad today. I probably need to cut my macros. I probably need to stop eating so many carbs. It's probably the rice. It's probably the bread. It's probably blah, 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 right? The next day you wake up, you're probably not feeling like that anymore. You're probably like, oh, I'm back. If you stuck to the plan, you're back to normal. You're feeling okay, right? You have to notice, okay, today I'm looking in the mirror and I'm feeling pretty gross. Yesterday I looked in the mirror and I felt pretty freaking good. The only thing that's changed is my mindset, not my body. You did not gain fat overnight that would make you look in the mirror and feel gross, right? It's how you feel. Yes, you could be a little bloated, but who cares? That doesn't define like you. But I understand that it's not like who cares, but you can get to a place where you will look in the mirror. Like I look in the mirror now and I'm like, ate a little bit later last night. Can't see my abs this morning. Okay, moving on. It doesn't matter, right? I do the things no matter what. If I want to do the things or not, I freaking do them. And I notice, and I want my clients to notice, if you are having a rough day, if you're having even a rough week where you feel defeated and you feel like you're plateaued and you're not making any progress, chances are the next day or the next week, you will feel fine. But also notice on the weeks that you feel fine, know that you will have weeks like this week's going to end where I feel really good. I'm probably going to feel like shit here in a couple weeks. Just know, right, that these feelings are not going to last. Just because you feel fat doesn't mean you are fat. Feelings are not facts. They're real, but they're not facts. Just because you feel like you've plateaued doesn't mean that you are. Just because you feel bigger, your jeans are fitting a little tighter doesn't mean anyone else can notice. It doesn't mean that you gained any fat. You could actually have lost a little bit of overall weight on the scale and feel a little more fluffy, okay? That's why it's important to know that this shit is not optional and you need to do it no matter how you feel, because the next day you'll feel better and you'll be pissed that you didn't stick with it. So keep that in mind. Just notice how you feel and know that, okay, it's okay to feel this way. I'm noticing it. Maybe there's a pattern. Maybe you're after Tuesday girls' night, you wake up on Wednesday and you kind of feel like shit. Okay, yeah, that's probably going to happen. So either get used to it or make a change. But the next day, you'll probably feel fine. So you need to stick with the plan no matter what. That's why hitting your macros, drinking your water, hitting your step count, doing your training program, that's why it's all important to do, period. Consistently, no matter how you look, no matter how you feel, okay? Let me say this part again. You might feel fat, but you are not fat, okay? Just because you feel something, you feel like you've plateaued, doesn't mean you've plateaued. Just because you feel like you're not doing a good job doesn't mean you're not doing a good job, okay? That's why it's so nice to have a coach in your corner so I can say you're doing a good job. You've literally been consistent to this program this entire time. Give it a couple more weeks, right? Your body is still learning to trust you. I can walk you through these things and help you gain that confidence. But that confidence will also come from doing the things that you don't want to do when you don't want to do it. When I finished my workout yesterday, I was sweaty. My knees were sweating so much. I wear those little knee bands, but my knees were just sweating. It was so hot. And I'm like, well, dumbass, if you hadn't have talked yourself out of this workout for an hour, you would have been done already and maybe got it done before the sun came out, but now you're sweating. That was my fault, obviously. But I was so proud of myself. Had I had not done the workout, I would have got later in the day and been really annoyed with myself for not showing up, because I know that I'm going to do it. I might as well do it sooner rather than later. I know by now that I'm going to do the things I don't want to do, whether I'm happy about it or not. And that's just come with consistency of noticing, right? On these days, I do feel like shit. The very next day, I do feel fine. So I might as well do the things on the days I feel like shit, and I might as well do the days when I feel fine. On the other side of that, there's this other side. I was talking to a client about this just earlier this week, where, sometimes when we are feeling gross and bad about ourselves and we won't work out because we're just not feeling good and we don't feel like the plan is working. On the other side of that, when you really are kicking ass, you look in the mirror and you're like, wow, I'm really making some great progress. I bet I could not hit my protein goal for a couple of days. I bet I could kind of slack off for a couple of days, right? Feeling so good about myself. Not like in a vacation way. Of course, you can enjoy a vacation, but in a way where it's like, kind of met my goal. I feel like I could slack off. I feel like I could add some of these crappy foods back in. When you do that, the opposite happens as well, where you do eventually go too far, and that's not good either. So that's why it's important to have a plan to where you can follow it when you feel like it and when you don't. That's also why it's important to have a plan that's flexible with your life. And that's also why it's important to have a plan that's flexible with the seasons. Myself and my Fit Club members we're gearing up to get started with more progressive overload, more muscle gain throughout the fall and winter. And so I'm strategically moving these workouts and moving our plan, and myself as well, into this programming where we will be lifting a little bit heavier for those of us that want to gain muscle and work out a little bit differently for the fall and winter. And I personally love that part because it feels different. It is a little bit of a change in the plan where, I get into fall and my mood's a little bit different and I do want to eat some different foods and my goals are different. And so it is nice to be able to kind of have a little bit of a change up, but also know it's going to fit seamlessly into my life. And I can still be very, very consistent with it. And I now have a different outlook of like, yes, I do need to hit my macros. Yes, I do need to lift heavier. If I'm not consistently showing up for my workouts, I won't build muscle. And my goal is to build muscle in the fall and winter. So I have to freaking show up for myself, right? That's kind of a push in the right direction too. If I'm not eating enough, then my body won't build muscle. So I have to be eating enough. I have to be working out consistently. Obviously, I have to be hitting these workouts. I have to be hitting these body parts with the right amount of weight, or my muscle's not going to grow. And then there's no point in any of this. So it all kind of feeds off of each other. So that's another way to follow your plan and not your mood, to know exactly the point of your workouts. So that way you're like, oh, if I miss this workout, then I've missed a lot of muscle building opportunity. And that's just not an option. So we're not going to do that. We're going to show up regardless. So that's a really good way for me to kind of look forward to my workouts and not have them be so much of a pain in the ass. I do love to show up for them and feel like I really did build my biceps. I really did work on building my quads today. I really did work on building my glutes today, and not just showed up for a workout, right? Working out with purpose and working out with a plan is really, really important. So I hope that you enjoyed this episode as usual. And I think it's a really good reminder that you need to show up no matter how you feel. You are not necessarily your feelings. Your feelings are not necessarily facts, but you're allowed to feel them. Absolutely. And know that, like, I don't feel like working out today. I'm going to freaking do it anyway. And that's how we get shit done over here. That's how we unfuck your fitness. So I will talk to you next week.
Thanks for listening to today's show. Go ahead and leave a rating and a review. And of course, follow the podcast so you don't miss out on any future episodes. And I would love it so much if you came to connect with me over on Instagram at Christy Castillo Fit. I will see you next time.